Professional bowling is a global sport, and the international stage where players from different countries compete is the World Bowling Tour. Tonight, the top men's and women's point earners meet here in Texas for the World Bowling Tour Finals, and the top seeds are both from the USA and both are former WBT champs, Anthony Simonson and Danielle McEwan. Will the Americans prevail once again? That answer straight ahead on FS1.
Tonight, the home of Team USA welcomes in a mix of America and Europe's best for the World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA. Welcome to Arlington, Texas. Glad you're with us tonight. Rob Stone, the Hall of Famer, Randy Peterson with you. How about some international March Madness on that other hardwood? Tonight, 6 finalists endured a 12-stop, 6-country tour just to book their ticket here to Texas. Let's start on the men's side, and fan favorite, Stu Williams.
Beat Stu. Yeah. And these bowlers, Rob, they travel the world in search for glory, and Stu's not afraid to get on a plane and travel across the pond. But he had a great finish to 2018, finishing first in Tulsa, followed that up with a runner-up finish at the Bear Open. And how fitting is it that a man from England finally makes it and punches his ticket to this event?
Anthony Simonson, the native of Texas, just up the road from Arlington, is your #1 seed. EJ Tackett in at the 3 spot. Over on the women's side, 2 regulars here and a refreshing new face from Poland.
Daria Pajak. And boy, is she exciting to watch. Probably the highest rev rate on the PWBA tour. I had an opportunity to work an exhibition with her. She's fantastic. And boy, is she exciting to watch. Throws a lot of strikes, has a lot of power. In 2017, she was Rookie of the Year, won her only title, and finished runner-up at the US Open 2. Liz Johnson,
who she will meet in our opening match. Danielle McEwan is your #1 seed. And the scoring system for tonight's show, a little bit unique.
It's very unique. So instead of 12 frames, there's only 10, and a strike in a frame earns you 30 pins. A spare is 10 plus whatever pinfall you get on the first ball. An open frame would be the total pins knocked down for that frame.
But they are still #chasing 300.
Yes, sir.
All right, so Liz Johnson will start us off as your 2 seed. Familiar territory for the veteran from just outside Chicago. Sweep it.
She's done that a few times in her career.
Oh man. By the way, her jersey today, on point. Donuts and coffee? Sign me up. Wonderful talk with Daria Pajak yesterday, 25-year-old from Pila, Poland, small city in the northwestern part of the country. She matches the bet with an opening strike.
And there's that power I alluded to, splitting the rack open on the right lane as we take a look at her style. She says she's been working on her upper body tilt, trying to get that backswing up just a little bit, but what about that snap of the elbow and the wrist at the bottom of the swing? That's what creates all that power. She's got plenty of it.
5-time Polish national champ. Great success here in the United States. Collegiately won 2 NAIA national championships with Weber International down in Lake Wales, Florida. Back-to-back opening jacks.
A really nice start. It's nice to see when the players can get off to a hot start. That means they're comfortable, they're relaxed, and they're able to pry it off early. And let's take a look at how the players will attack the 39-foot sole oil pattern. Daria Pajak, with her extremely high rev rate, is going to curve it a little bit more. And we already saw Liz Johnson going much straighter. But look for a lot of strikes and big scores on this very gettable sole oil pattern.
here comes Liz Johnson up for her second bite at the apple, an 11-time Team USA member. And big focus on this event tonight is obviously the international aspect, but also the focus on trying to further bowling into the Olympic stratosphere. 7-pin. How dare you?
Liz using two different bowling balls, and I heard from a reliable source that the left lane actually is hooking quite a bit more than the right lane. Here's a look at our WBT final point list.
Top 3 earned their ticket here to Arlington, Texas. Shannon O'Keefe just missing out in that 5 spot. Liz cleans that one up. Pajak and Johnson battling to take on your #1 seed, Danielle McEwan from Stony Point, New York. And she's standing by with Kimberly Pressler.
Thanks, Rob. So, Danielle, you know, this is the 4th year that you've been in this. You've won it twice, and you're coming in as the #1 seed. All of that is not easy to do. Tell me what it takes to actually get here.
Well, the World Bowling Tour is such a unique thing that allows me to travel the world and do what I love, but it's also a full commitment. Last year I flew almost 160,000 miles in order to compete on this tour and my other tours around the States, so I love it.
Is it worth it?
Absolutely.
All right, good luck today. Thank you, Danielle.
Danielle won in Qatar and Thailand. Telling us the other day, you got to see countries and cities that I've heard about, but never thought I would experience. Took some day trips around some of her bowling ventures, found her way to Dubai one day. But here's Liz Johnson, the American, with a big challenge here in the 3rd.
Touch it.
Get it! Yeah, Liz! You betcha! There's your hammer tough spare replay, and that was a tough one. My goodness.
Well, just a great conversion, and coming from the GOAT, you kind of expect her to do that.
The GOAT, love it.
Greatest of all time on the women's side. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Perfection from the Polish international. Again, using the WBT current frame scoring system. Liz Johnson may be the greatest of all time, but another strike there from Daria shows she is far from being intimidated. She's looking awfully comfortable out there tonight.
The revolutions, the rev rate of Daria's bowling ball going down the lane and the subtlety of the motion down lane, and there's a reason for that. I'll explain in a minute.
Right through the nose.
A little inside of target, but again, getting back to the ball motion itself, even with that higher rev rate and her axis rotation, the ball's very subtle off the end of the pattern. The reason why is because the layout of the bowling ball she's using is what we call a 1-inch pin, meaning that the pin is actually 1 inch from her axis point. And what that does is it makes the ball roll really, really early and very little change of direction off the end of the pattern. Look out.
Oh, no.
And if there is a knock on her game, it's sometimes she gets erratic shooting spares.
Open frame first here in this opening match. So she's at a 98. We'll have to sit and stew on that one. Liz Johnson comes up. Liz, strike, spare, spare.
She can close to within 2 with a strike here.
She is a woman of firsts in bowling. Another tough spare pickup waiting her. She became the first woman in PBA history to qualify, Randy, for a PBA Tour event. She did back in 04, the Uniroyal Tire Classic in Ohio. In 04-05 season, made history again, became the first woman to advance to the TV finals of a PBA Tour event. Ended up finishing second to Tommy Jones as we take another look at that shot right there, and then became the first woman to win a PBA Regional Tour event in 05. That was in Rome, New York. She is so respected. Male, female, just bold. That's what she does. Boy, cleaned up a couple tough spares early on.
And you hear that moaning or grunting when she gets to the foul line, and that's because she's got 2 bad knees. And, you know, we talked to her about it the other night. She said, yeah, I mean, I work out, I try to keep my legs in shape, but I've got an arthritic left knee and a bad right knee. And in a sport where your legs are probably 80% of your entire makeup, that's not a good combination.
Yeah, that knee brace on the left knee gives things away. Aging isn't fun, Randall.
Time is a terrible thing, but it's been pretty good to Liz Johnson.
Man, has it ever. 28 career tour titles, 10 of them majors. She won 2 PWBA tour titles back in 2018. One of the most respected personalities in the sport.
Yeah, without question. Space-time continuum.
Nice name as you take a look at her arsenal. I like the booyah as well. Pajak.
Take a look at it. Strike track on the right there showing her RPMs at 476. Remember just a few weeks ago, that was the Bill O'Neill range.
So a fantastic start, an opening 3-bagger for the 25-year-older from Poland. Open frame in the 8th, though. Try not to replicate that here in the 5th.
That last shot she threw looked pretty good in terms of location, but it never turned over down lane, and she may want to consider going to a ball that's a little bit more aggressive in the back part of the lane.
One of the best to ever come out of Poland. Again, one of the focuses here this season in the United States, try to get bowling into the Olympics. And if it gets there, you have to feel Daria would be a no-brainer to represent her home country because of shots like that.
Her first 4 shots, her ball speed was 17.7, 17.7, 17.5, 17.5. And that's some serious ball speed control. And that was 10 in the pit.
Hey, Randy.
Hey, Rob.
Got a question for you.
Fire.
You ready?
Yeah.
Take a look at this picture.
Okay.
What do these steel pecs and torqued traps have to do with this match tonight?
I have no idea.
The answer coming up next. Randy, put down the baby oil and quit lathering up your biceps, please. You're embarrassing me.
You're not showing that.
The PBA on Fox is sponsored by Go Bowling. For promotional offers, tips to improve your game, news, or just to locate a bowling center near you, log on to gobowling.com. Our coverage of the World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA rolls on as we take a look at our updated strike track.
We got some big differences here in terms of the 2 players. And you look at this number right here, that's just strictly power. But what really tells the tale is the accuracy. And even though Daria's track looks a little bit more narrow, Liz is a little bit wider, she gets away with it because of that lower rev rate.
So Liz up here to close out the 6th. 34 points separating them. Yeah, late fall on the 10. Flashback. 2017 Chameleon Championship. World Series of Bowling.
She said that was one of her biggest wins ever on either tour, beating her good friend, Anthony Pepe.
So she's had so many wins. What's on her bucket list to win? This event.
Good shot.
Six frames, Pajak leads by 4 pins.
So 3 in a row for Johnson. We flashed that picture going to break. I'll give you an early hint. It involves Daria. Currently lives in Florida in the Lake Wales area.
Gotta have it.
Get left.
She got it a little bit right.
We talked to her yesterday, and her passion for this sport was clear. And you know who kickstarted that passion? Her dad, Miroslav. Her dad, a retired bodybuilder, worked out in a gym, and a bowling center opened up right next to it. And he said, well, let me take my young daughter bowling while I'm working on my pecs and my traps. So Dad clearly spent time in the gym. I don't think there's any debating that. Or do we need visual proof? It's like a young Randy Peterson right there. So there's
That's pretty impressive.
Miroslav, right? And you know, Dad said, I'm going to take you to the bowling center. You're going to get a ball and you're going to kind of aim at some targets. And Daria telling us, you know, for me, it was the newest thing ever, all this technology. I could bowl against my dad. And Dad and Mom, Borjana, ended up picking up the sport. This is a picture of the two of them. They bowled on the European Senior Tour.
That's incredible. Beautiful shot.
Yeah, her family makes me happy. And she does too. She has this warmth, this electricity about her, and an absolute passion about bowling. We asked her, you know, what do you like best about the United States? Her response, you know, it wasn't hamburgers or pizza or travel or Disney World or all these silly things. It was bowling. She says bowling is so respected here more than anywhere else in the world. She'll take a seat with a 196. Here comes Liz at 173. There's her arsenal.
Idle Pearl on the right lane, High Road X on the left lane. And through the nose on the right lane.
Rut Row. Six, 7, 10. She's had 2 big spare conversions already. Won't get this one though, so an open frame in the 8th.
Max score is still 242. Daria Pajak, 256. Remember, 30 pins a frame for a strike.
Using the WBT current frame scoring system.
Yeah.
Something that some folks are utilizing to maybe appease the Olympic base out there, simplify some things, give them another reason to put bowling into the Olympic Games.
Check out the location here. Just inside second arrow, that would be like the 12th board. So just to the left of the second arrow is where her strike zone seems to be. Still has to let go of it properly. Now Daria can close this out with 2 strikes, 1 in the 9th, 1 in the 10th.
She's had more issues though on this right lane than the left.
Yeah, she needs to convert. If she does, she'll have 2-16 in the 9th. A strike will lock it up. Anything less, Liz Johnson can strike and win match number 1. First things first, gotta convert the baby split. Well, that wasn't that far off. Another half-inch to the right, and she makes it, but now she's in trouble. Max score for her now, 235. Strike here. She will force Liz Johnson to strike.
Right, back and forth, Daria and Liz both affording their opposition some openings to steal the game, to take it and claim it, and they don't. Daria handing it right back now to the vet.
Right lane looks kind of iffy for both players. Both players coming off the splits.
Be interesting to see how the men attack it a little bit later. Simonson, Williams, and EJ attack it. The three finalists on the men's side.
Big shot here for Daria. Rock solid on that lane, Rob. Really nice, and her execution's been brilliant on the left lane.
The sixth overall strike of this match.
Through 9 frames, Johnson leads by 7. Bowling 10 frames.
So 235. She's done. Strike for Liz, and she wins.
Strike for Johnson gives her 242. Anything less, Daria moves on.
Again, this is the one event that's kind of eluded Liz Johnson throughout her illustrious career. A strike to move on to the final.
Inside of target, got it! Pocket. Well, I think that's how you get the moniker, the GOAT, right? Doing stuff like that.
Daria's done, and the GOAT continues to roam the yard. Step up and fire the winner. 242, 235. So our final is set, and it's a good one. Liz Johnson set to take on your #1 seed, Danielle McEwan. Liz survives, eliminates Daria. She's got the 1 seed next. Rob Stone, Randy Peterson, Kimberly Pressler back here with you. The World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA rolls on here from Arlington, Texas. Match 1 in the books. A back and forth affair, Randy.
Yeah, it really was, but it was the 2 open frames that really cost Daria, especially the one there in the 9th frame. And Liz Johnson, well, she steps up like the Hall of Famer she is and put 10 back in the pit to move on.
One of her 6 strikes, 242, 235 at your finals. You take a look at your game summary provided by Strike Track.
Well, and again, you know, the one thing that this graphic doesn't show is the relatively easy spare that Daria missed early, the 3-6, and then the baby split miss. But you look at the RPMs and the complete differences of these two players, ball speed, RPMs, and then not to mention angles, which all go together with those numbers.
So Johnson moves on. She'll take on your 1 seed, Danielle McEwan, in today's Ebonite Flashback. Take a look back at McEwan's success at the WBT Finals in 2016 in Indianapolis. She stepped up and dropped the legendary Kelly Hewlett, 256, 243. It was her first WBT Finals title. And then in 2017 in Vegas, Danielle dropped Liz Johnson, 203, 200. Back-to-back titles. Both those events used the WBT current frame scoring system that we are utilizing tonight. Danielle continues to get loose. Liz Johnson waiting in the wings. Will McEwan take home her 3rd WBT trophy? Your women's championship match coming up next. And remember, later the men take to the lanes. Former PBA Player of the Year EJ Tackett will face the Englishman Stu Williams. The winner meets 2017 WBT champ Anthony Simonson. Welcome back to the 2019 World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA, coming away from the International Training and Research Center here in Arlington, Texas. Every weekday morning, these two guys go head-to-head on the day's hottest sports topics. Skip Bayless versus Shannon Sharp. Undisputed weekdays from 9:30 a.m. to noon Eastern, only on FS1 and the Fox Sports app.
We're using the WBT current
frame scoring for all the matches today. It's still a 10-frame match, but there's no carryover between frames like conventional scoring. You get a strike, boom, that's 30 pins. You get a 9 spare, that's 19 pins. No fill shot in the 10th frame. The max score, though, remains 300. Liz Johnson batting leadoff here in our finals. It's good. It looked good to a 7-10 like that.
I'm sorry. Am I experiencing deja vu?
Are you okay? Are you all right?
Well, because the last time these two faced off, remember what happened, only it was the 10th frame when Liz did this. She needed a mark to beat Danielle, and she went pocket 7-10 to lose.
Get one.
There's the Globetrotter.
Well, she was all over the place, huh? To get the #1 seed here.
You know what I really love about Danielle, though, is she's so appreciative of having the opportunity to do that.
Just 27 years old. Nice follow through. Come on, 10.
Very nice opening shot as we take a look at her RPMs. Her rev rate, 284. Ball speed about 17.5. Just beautiful lines right there. Shoulder high backswing, and then, you know, being a gym rat that she is, she's able to utilize her lower half to create great position at the bottom of the swing.
It's funny you mentioned that gym rat thing. We asked her the other day, you know, what are you doing to try to increase bowling's exposure and push to get into the Olympics? Picks up that spare. She said, I tried to promote bowling in an athletic way, which it is, and a lot of people are old school and certainly don't appreciate it, but she says, I go to Instagram, you know, at DMAC9191, and I send out pictures of me in the gym and working out and showing, hey folks, this is not the old school bowling that you guys think of and conjure up when you discuss this sport. This is an athletic endeavor that requires a high level of skill and endurance.
She's a great ambassador, no doubt about it.
Come on, Messenger. You know, we asked her about bowling in the Olympics. I said, what's your stance on it? Does it belong? And it was just a one-word answer, and it was quick. Yes. So many different variables in our sport. And again, the point is, the reason that we're not is folks just don't realize how difficult and demanding it is.
Well, I think one of the advantages for Danielle is that she keeps herself in such great physical shape. It helps her mental game out tremendously.
Back-to-back 9 spares for Danielle. Liz Johnson in those 28 career pro titles, including 10 majors. Here she is in the second. In the pocket, but leaves the 10-pin. Slow start for Johnson so far. Gets her first mark. Here we go downstairs. Kimberly standing by with your 3 seed, Daria Pajak, who was just eliminated.
I sure am. So, Daria, I know you took this a little hard, but that open frame in the 9th, it cost you the match, really did. And on the strike tracker, it showed that you went a little bit high on it. How did it feel coming off your hand?
The last strike felt very good. I was trying to slow a little bit down, and I wanted to make sure I get in the pocket. The pair was getting very tight, so I wanted rather to go high than to leave it open again. And I was very proud of the last shot. However, the 9th frame and definitely the open frame and the 4th was something that cost me the match.
Well, you should be very proud because you made it this far, and I have no doubt that we're going to see you on many more shows. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, let's hope we see more of Daria on the show. Her smile lights up a bowling center. She's a delight to watch. And by the way, you did some research. You found out what her last name means in Polish. This is good.
Yeah, her last name, Pajak, actually means spider.
Jumps on the rack like a spider monkey.
Liz Johnson trips the 4-pin. Danielle McEwan does not.
Yeah, nobody wants to take hold of this final.
Well, I think the lanes are going through a little bit of transition right now, and that's what the women are battling.
Just one strike in our 3 frames so far, and that was Liz in the 3rd. Nine spare for McEwan.
And a 1-pin match.
Danielle here in her 4th straight finals, won 2 of the last 3. She has owned this. On the flip side, Liz Johnson, pretty much the one thing she hasn't won in her career. Look at Danielle's 3-ball arsenal. Well, our second 7-10 of the championship match. 1 for each now.
On the same lane, the left lane.
It's only been converted 3 times on national television. Chance for history. Open frame 4th. Perhaps an opening
3 complete frames, Johnson leads
for Liz Johnson.
bowling 4th frame.
First pair of strikes tonight.
Well, Liz Johnson has definitely moved in. She started around 9 at the arrows out to about 6, and right now she's playing just left of 2nd arrow. In case you're wondering who the defending champs are of this event, Jason Belmonte beat Marshall Kent in a 1-shot roll-off, and Diana Zavyavala beat Danielle McEwan. High game in this event back in 2016. Dom Barrett, 300.
Ooh.
Hey.
Now she's starting to get dialed in, huh?
Hey, here she comes.
Yeah, that's a little quiet, confident strut back to the chair. Yeah, sit down with that 3-bagger after that rough start open frame in the 1st. Speaking of open frames, that's what Danielle did in the 4th. Here she is to close out the 5th.
Yeah, nice shot. And you can see Danielle a little bit farther left, higher rev rate, a little slower ball speed. And so she's able to open up this pattern, obviously more than Liz Johnson. Liz Johnson's strength is bringing the high hard one, and we saw that on her last shot in match number 1 where she needed a strike to beat Daria Pajak. She moved to board left. She came by and told us, hey, I moved to board left in the 10th and I fired it right at the 1-3.
Danielle working off her first strike here of the championship match. Let's make it a double.
Nice.
Our 3 men's finalists are coming up, but first up, we conclude McEwan and Johnson in the World Bowling Tour Finals. Both of them starting to get dialed in. Rob, Randy, Kimberly, welcome you back to the 8th edition of the World Bowling Tour Finals presented by the PBA using that current frame scoring system. And what have you seen from Danielle's game here, Randy?
Well, she's playing farther left than Liz Johnson, and here's a pretty good indicator on how each of the two women are playing this oil pattern. Here's Liz Johnson, 11 to 10. That's about as straight as you can go, Rob. That's a one-board belly. Danielle McEwan, 15 to 8.
Liz, watch that. You saw her head peeking up. She was looking at the in-house monitors. She took in that intel. You could tell by her facial expression, it registered differently than maybe what she was expecting to hear, either by her or from what Danielle's been doing.
Liz Johnson is doing exactly what Liz Johnson likes to do, and that's go up the grain of the wood. That was yanked.
Got away with it.
That was 12 board at the arrow, so that was a good board or two inside a target on the right lane, but that right lane is tighter down lane, and she was able to hold it off into the pocket. Hey, Rob, how many in a row does Liz Johnson have now?
According to my math, Randall, that would be 4. The kids out there have a term for it. I lose track of what it is sometimes.
Keep trying to set you up.
Here's Liz to start up the 7th. I can't just be passing around the dimes and the diamonds.
I got you.
I got to hold on to them once in a while.
A
wise man said that to me once.
I understand. You got to hold on to some of the diamonds. I got you. 11 to 4 last time. A big time left. Yeah. Left and left. You can see trajection was left. Target at the arrows was left. And that ball crosses over. Danielle McEwan right back in this, Rob.
Absolutely. And Danielle seems to have found her form. Strikes in the 5th and the 6th. Her 7th coming up in a moment. Liz tries to take care of the 6.
And looking back at game 1 against Daria Pajak, remember we talked about Daria's open frames. But remember Liz Johnson converted the 2-4-10. Without that conversion, she doesn't make it to the title match against Danielle McEwan. Liz Johnson, an incredible spare shooter, along with the ability to string strikes. Danielle McEwan looking to do the same, working on a double.
Double to a triple. Momentum starting to swing into the McEwan camp.
And for those of you that don't know how to keep score at home, that 3 in a row, that's called the turkey.
The turkey?
Yeah. Somebody asked me the other day, how did they arrive at the name turkey for 3 in a row? And I looked at them and I said, I have no idea.
I actually know that story. Back in the old days, if you threw a 3 in a row during the holiday period at your local bowling center,
that's right,
they would give you a free turkey to take home for the holidays. You know what they give you for 4 in a row, Randy? They give you a ham bone! That's when you drop the dime. That's when you drop the diamond. Don't force the ham bone on me, Randall.
It's all about timing, and this is perfect timing for Danielle.
Danielle taking the seat now with a 186. What do you got, Liz? Strikes 3 through 6, and then the 9 spare in the 7th.
Another 9 spare. We have a tie through 8. Better shot. And the soft 10.
Spare conversion, and we're tied.
Is there an echo in here?
There is a breeze. Could be back-to-back 9 spares for Liz Johnson. Her spare shot is crazy, isn't it?
Well, again, she has the issue with her left knee, and generally speaking, shooting at a spare, you tend to throw the ball a little bit harder. And for Liz, all she's trying to do is direct it on line.
Which she did. Again, the men's tour finals coming up next. Tackett versus Williams in your first match. Anthony Simonson. He's got a good crowd here to cheer him on. He's waiting the winner. EJ Tackett still to come. He and Liz teamed up last year to win a doubles event. We're tied at 186. This is a 2-frame game.
Hook a lot.
Get down!
Got it into the switch zone, and the pins cooperated that time with Liz Johnson. Now to stay even, Danielle McEwan must strike in the 9th.
Hook a lot.
It's nice when the ball heeds your advice.
Right? Sometimes it listens.
Oh,
Oh, look out.
How about Brooklyn? Well, well, well.
Well, trouble now, Liz Johnson can strike in the 10th frame and lock this up. However,
Again, this is not your normal 10th frame.
one ball. However, Danielle McEwan it's not over yet. A spare here, she'll have 205 and be trailing by 11. Spare and then a strike in the 10th forces Liz Johnson to strike.
Takes care of the spare. Now the big one here in the 10th.
We do also have a possibility of a tie. A strike from Danielle McEwan here, it's 235. 9 spare for Liz Johnson, 235.
And we've seen 3 9 spares from Liz Johnson in this match alone. Through the nose. It's not one yet for Liz, but it's awfully close. Danielle covers that one, which means Liz up next for that elusive title here at the World Bowling Tour Finals. Randy, all she needs?
8. Again, I'm seeing this as being a little reminiscent of match number 1, where it's the heater, Ricky.
That's why you're a legend.
Finally, the GOAT captures the one elusive event.
High score of the evening, the 246 claims the title. Get it, Liz, you deserved it.
Products, thanks Turbo Grip. You can bowl 2 Pro Shop. Tasha, I love you. Thank you guys.
After 3 second place finishes and 2/3, Liz Johnson, finally a WBT champion.
Left that soft hand early. Danielle McEwan fell behind, but rallied. And then when she needed a big shot, well, disappointed with that one. Liz Johnson just needs good count. And last time I checked, a strike is pretty good count.
Yeah, it's really, really good count.
Thanks Storm Products, thanks Turbo Grip.
That's the one trophy that's been eluding her through her Hall of Fame career. As we take a look at our game summary, courtesy of Strike Track.
Again, the numbers that really stick out to me is rev rate. And Liz Johnson, lower rev rate, but what she's so good at and what she's been so good at throughout the duration of her career is keeping the ball online and playing to her strengths.
Here's Kimberly with Liz.
Thanks, guys. So, Liz, when we talked earlier, you said that you were feeling a little bit nervous because you wanted this so bad. You said to us yesterday that this was on your bucket list. It didn't look like your nerves were affecting you, were they?
I was pretty nervous in between matches. I knew Danielle was going to throw a lot of strikes, and I just had to stay focused. And actually, for me, when I get a little nervous like that, it actually gets me to focus a little harder and a little better. And I knew going at the end of the first match, I made a good adjustment and just had to stay aggressive and make the shots.
And you definitely did that. But now that this is crossed off your bucket list, what's next?
Hopefully keep winning and make more shows and more titles.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and congratulations on your win.
Great to see Liz finally with that WBT hardware. She shows it off. No doubt she's going to try to be back and defend in next year's finals as we look ahead to some of the events in 2019 on the World Bowling Tour. World Series of Bowling coming from just outside Detroit. We'll be in Vegas for the USBC Masters. Houston, Texas in late July, the Lucky Larson Masters from Sweden, and then the U.S. Open from North Carolina in late October. Coming up next, the men take to the lanes. E.J. Tackett's epic November got him here to these WBT finals. He's going to take on Big Stu Williams in the semis.